So the land values do go up, and it's not the Conservancy, or even though the builders or the landowners try to establish the price, it is the state. When the state gives money from bond money, they decide, they do the appraisal. So, if somebody says to you, well, they made up the price, no, it has to be acceptable to the state, because the state will not just throw money away. It will not say, oh yeah, sure, we'll pay you whatever. They have precedents, they have other preserves where they have guidelines on how the stuff is appraised. A garden plant from South Africa called the purple starflower. Makes sense, doesn't it? But for long, I'm only showing you because we always laugh, because there was one on the trail here, and we never knew what it was. And so we always said, oh, I wonder what that is. And finally, we did find out that's what it was. This is a tumbleweed. This is the root where it's attached to the ground, to the roots in the ground. This is how small it is, and this is the plant when it grows up and it's ready to tumble. Can you see that good? Couple more things that come up. A little bit of rain, and as you can see, things come up. Again, our friend the cliff aster. This is actually a groundsel. This is a garden weed. And of course, here's the ubiquitous mustard, which we see more or less every year. This past year, we saw hardly any, because we had such a dry winter. It's one of these hate-love relationships. When it blooms and it colors the hills in spring all over California, we say, oh, look how pretty, the hills are yellow, it's so pretty. On the other hand, it's really a dastardly weed. It's so prolific in California, it probably can never be erased. So basically, you sort of live with it, and when we replant preserves, all we try to do is when we plant a new plant, to keep the weeds away long enough that the plant can establish itself. In fact, the future of the management on the preserve, once they're planted, is weed, 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 weed. That's our famous words. Weed, 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 weed. And these wonderful people, students, citizens of all shapes and stripes, come and help us, volunteer on volunteer days. We couldn't do it without them. We have Alcoa aluminum plant. They sent their employees for, just to do good for the community. School children get extra points. They probably don't like it, but they get, extra point if they come and they help weed one Saturday. Some come because they just like it. Neighborhood people that are interested in keeping a preserve nice. Just a whole bunch. Students, ecology students, but regular students. Some of them don't know, mustard from a tumbleweed just about. But they come out, they get extra credit from their teachers, and we could not do this work without them, because that's just grunt work. It's and it's very important. And so the mustard is one of these weeds that if it encroaches too much, we need to take it out. But otherwise, and then here we have our friend the cliff aster again, just coming out. See, here's a little blossom right here, just coming out. Right in the middle of it is a non-native. This is called ripgut. And ripgut is just a weed, basically. But the reason it's called, it's very soft. You have a hand without a glove? No? See, it's very soft. Now go against the grain. Go like this.
Sharp, yeah.
You can't go backwards. It has hooks. This is also what goes in dogs' hair, fur when you walk and stuff. One of them, and that's presumably why it's called ripgut. I mean, I wouldn't eat it, but So interesting name for this thing. Oh, and here's some more of that ox tongue. It has a little bit bitter leaf with the bumps on it that I was talking about. Bristly ox tongue, which sticks and is pesky. But you see the Grecian temple a little bit, and you see the cypresses sticking up, going up the 265 steps or something, go up the hill. And then a grove of eucalyptus there. This is actually a euphorbia. You'll find that in your garden. It's sort of a really cute little plant, and there's several kinds. And there's one in your garden that doesn't have these little white. It's actually a blossom. It looks like a little tiny white eye. That's basically a weed. This is actually a California native, and called squawweed or squaw, but it's a euphorbia. And the euphorbia family is huge, and we have a new weed on the peninsula since about 5 years. It's called Euphorbia terracina, and it turns out to be a horrible weed. And we have money for going after weeds. There are grants that you can apply for noxious weeds. and that's one of our targets. And it has spread for some reason, and we don't even know for sure how it got here. Somebody thought that perhaps it was somebody took it in as a garden plant, and the sap of all euphorbias is somewhat irritating. If you did this or you do the other euphorbias in your garden and you have it on your hands and you touch your eye or your mouth, it burns and can be very irritating and in your eye somewhat dangerous. So because anything that has a milky sap, watch out for. But this is such a cute, compact little plant. I always enjoy seeing it when it's on the ground like this. The one, the acacias, of course non-native from Australia. One of the reasons they burn so well is this. Okay, the whole tree gets full of these, and it's also called cyclip acacia. The reason being that the seeds, and this is an old one, look like this, and they have this. This is when it's out of here. Anyway, this normally is brilliant red, and then it has this black seed inside. Okay. And birds like to eat this covering and then drop the seed later on, and that's why we have so many of these non-native acacias on the hill, and they're one on our list to take out. They're terrible, and they don't last very long. They last maybe 25-30 years and get woodier and woodier and have this, these seed pods in here, and they're really a fire hazard, and they'll go up like crazy. So acacia. We have come to either the beginning or the end of McBride Trail, and he's done, of course, a great service to the community, and I thank all of you for sticking this out. It's cold and windy, and we appreciate your support for the Conservancy very much. Please come to all the next walks every second Saturday of the month. Next one will be at White Point, out in San Pedro area, which is one of our star accomplishments as managers of that preserve. We have replanted it and have made it into a fabulous nature preserve, and we can tell you about. It's a good place to see what can be done with basically a barren field and a military military post with missiles on it and so forth. And we're very proud of it, and basically now all we do is weed, like I said. But anyway, please come, and thank you for coming, and have a good weekend.
Thank you very much.